Hey guys, what's going on? Mouse here. So, after a lot of hours and optimizing and testing stuff, finally got Rage 67. Like always, I'm gonna share with you guys the builds, the full setup, everything. I'm gonna share with you the gameplay as well. It's actually very interesting and very different from the previous version of this guild boss because there's so many weird things that happened here, and there are also potential bugs that I have yet to confirm, and I'm also gonna share what I learned about this guild boss, although it won't be very detailed yet because obviously full testing would take time, but at least I pretty much have an idea already on what is happening. And just really quick before we begin, just in case you have not supported me in the SLA Content Creator Program yet, if you love my contents, if you want to support my content creation, feel free to support me here. That would really help me a lot. And also we have 4 upcoming codes here: Mana Power Extract, Essence Stones, 1000 plus gold, so we can expect these codes over the coming days. And also quick shout out to all our top 10 supporters: Mr. Bombastic, thank you so much bro, Spanish, King Kong, Demos, a lot of NIDs here. Thank you so much for the support. All right, let's begin. So here's the lineup that we use. Team A is the Meta Water team, and Team B will be Hansemi, Ana Ruiz, and so. The other team setup where I also got 17 billion is using Lee Ju-hee here in Team B. However, I did have MP problems on Team A. That's why I opted to use Hansemi for this one. But I think there might be a potential for Lee Ju-hee to increase the overall damage of this team, because there is something weird that I actually found out here. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I did play this a lot, and my guildmates also played this a lot. When we replaced Saw and reduced the number of water units in Team B, the damage of Team A fell off. I actually had to build a fully built Thomas Andre with 44,000 defense right here. I think it's missing a core here. Let's just say I have a crit rate core here, but his defense is 44k. The defense penetration damage increase is good, crit damage is good, and he is dealing around 2.2 billion. And in this run with Saw, I can only deal around 1.5 to 1.7 billion damage. And so I thought that putting Thomas Andre here will actually give me more damage output, but apparently the Team A lost damage. So I'm not certain about the cost yet, but I am looking at a couple of things here. This one at A4, probably water team members water damage increases by 10%, stacking up to 3 times for every water team member in the active formation. It's quite possible that it is actually stacking based on the number of water units in the team. So another possibility is that maybe something is bugged here as well in hae-in's A4 for every water team member. So I'm totally not sure what causes that. I would have to test it probably if I have the time. I don't want to do more bug test videos, but that's it pretty much. So I'm gonna show you a couple of images here showing Thomas Andre's damage, wherein my hae-in could not even break the 11 billion. It's hard to even reach 10 billion damage on hae-in if I put another element here. And I did some tests as well using other units, replacing Team B with other elements and doing a quick damage test. So this is extremely weird, but let's just leave it at that for now. So if you don't have Saw, you can replace this with hae-in light version. Usually she deals around 1.5 billion damage. However, using her here will have a big problem because firstly, she's not a water element. If my suspicion is correct, then that will reduce the damage, and also she will steal Maelin Fisher's buff because Maelin Fisher's weapon goes across the team and finds the highest attack, and then she will give the max damage increase buff to that unit. So that being said, if you want to play this lineup at its fullest potential, then you kind of have the water cha to have the highest attack, and therefore you might not be able to use attack type units. So let's go ahead and check Song Jin-woo. We are playing a support Song Jin-woo here, maximum 690 intelligence right here. I'm gonna show you later why I did not balance it with strength anymore. And here's the stats. I actually have to add more defense penetration, but I don't have available cores or artifacts to replace my current sets. And then I'm using Moonshadow plus Grim. For the skills, I'm still using our old school build, which uses the Vacuum Wave for that 17% increased damage taken, and using Cold Eyes for that increased damage taken additional 10%. And then for the Blessing Stones, I use Reawakening, VR1, Bloodlust, and then Swiftness for more mobility so that I can spam my skills. I forgot to mention that I am using this Collapse Surprise Attack and then Death Squall for the break damage. And the reason why I want to use that is because I'm actually using a grid set here. Yep, Jinwoo carries the grid set, so that will help me stack grid set faster with just a few rotations. For the cores, nothing special here. I'm just using what I have. Actually, this is wrong. I'm actually using a core with MP consumption reduction. I think as long as it is Teeth of the Watcher, it's gonna be enough for the guild boss, since we also have Hansemi anyway. Before we move over to the hunters, let's talk about the guild boss first, because there are quite a few things that you should know about this. So firstly, if you guys remember, this guild boss has a mechanics that increases the defense, becomes more tanky as the fight goes on, and there is some sort of a defense decreased resistance, meaning your shadow step, your other defense decrease are gonna be less effective as the range goes up. I haven't done the official test yet to check the numbers because it's really hard now with up to 60 plus rages, but I did a quick test though. I can confirm that it becomes more tanky. However, one difference is that it starts now with the very low defense. Before, it starts at 75% defense, the Ant Queen starts at 60% defense, but this time it starts at 40% defense only, so it is going to be much softer, so our defense decrease is not going to be felt that much. However, like before, the defense penetration is not as effective, but still effective in this case, because like I said, the defense decrease gets pretty much like almost nothing, almost nullified, I feel. So let's leave it at that for now, and let's go back here to check the setup of the hunter. So this is the artifact sets that I'm using. Grid set on Sung Jin-woo, Guardian set on Maylin Fisher plus Sylph's Blessings. If you're gonna use the Lee Ju-hee approach, then you have to use Blessing set here. And then Sorin is using 8-piece Chaotic Desire, and then hae-in is using 8-piece Infamy set. So if you have Hansemi in the team, you can of course use your Obsidians plus Curse. And then for Hansemi, I'm using Angel in White plus V reset, because you want to spam that AoE field so that you can activate the shields of Team A more frequently for that bonus damage on the DPS units. I'm using 4-piece Grid plus 4-piece V reset on Ana Ruiz. So just in case you don't know about this yet, 10% of Ana Ruiz's poison comes from her weapon, and then it only lasts for 5 seconds, and the skill that procs that is the Poison Shower, which has an 8 seconds cooldown. So in order to have more uptime to that defense decrease, then you have to use V reset. However, it's not just gonna be V reset all the time in other gameplay modes or in other team setups. It's just that we're not buffing anyone with significant damage increase that would need the grid set, like so for example. So it's just like an additional water DPS here. Actually, I felt like the defense decrease of Ana Ruiz did not even help here. So I might try some other lineups here over the coming days, but for now, I think this is the best one that I was able to come up with. And then Saw is using 2-piece Toughness, 2-piece Curse plus 4-piece Obsidian. Of course, you can use Infamy, Destructive Instincts, whatever you have with higher stats, although I tried my Destructive Instinct here, not working well, so I switched back to Obsidian. Just remember, your hae-in should have the highest attack. Don't worry about Jinwoo. Maylin Fisher is not gonna buff Jinwoo with that weapon buff. Now let's go over to the stats one by one. 75k HP, crit rate good, crit rate around 8k to 10k, and I forgot to mention, I haven't tested the guild boss level yet, but it's written as level 90 now, so our crit rate might get affected because of these mechanics. The chance to inflict critical hit damage, the required stat value increases depending on the target's level. But anyway, I think between 8k to 10k crit rate is a safe spot. I would personally try to go for 10k crit rate here. And then crit damage, defense penetration, damage increase. And then for the course, the only crucial thing here is to use this. I think this will help her gain more power gauge to cast the ultimate faster. And then for my Sorin, here's my stats, 65k HP only, but the damage is quite good. Crit damage 191%, that should be enough. I personally just go for around 200% max here. And then defense penetration, damage increase, very high because my chaotic sets are kind of random. That's why these are very high and my HP is very low, but still worked well anyway. MP consumption reduction 2.6k. And then for my hae-in, 41.7k, crit rate 8.9k, crit damage 193%, defense penetration and damage increase balance. Personally found the sweet spot to be somewhere around equal value of defense penetration and damage increase. And I know that because I do have lots of defense penetration cores. I actually made Eyes of the Watcher defense penetration core even just to test the damage output in actual. So that's still just based on field though, so just take it with a grain of salt, but I really did find that the sweet spot for this is just gonna be around equal value of defense penetration and damage increase, or possibly 20% defense penetration and then 30% damage increase, somewhere around that value. I don't know, but it would certainly help, just like how it helped in the previous version of this boss. So for the cores, I'm using Eyes of the Watcher, increases the critical hit damage of Cortex. So a lot of people are asking about this. What counts as basic skill is an additional Heavenly Swords damage. You're gonna see the animation of the swords. It's gonna hit the target, 175% of your defense multiplied by the number of stacks. So it's not gonna be the core attack that is going to become a basic skill. This is just what will proc those swords, the first skill that will also proc those Heavenly Swords. Okay, so I'm using 8BC Infamy set, but like I said, you can also use your Obsidian and Curse here. There's not gonna be much difference yet, especially in the guild boss, because of that plus 30% additive basic skill plus ultimate skill damage added in the guild buff. I reported this and a lot of people reported this too, and probably they are taking action now. These are actually my Suyun cores. I just added them to balance defense penetration and damage increase and worked pretty well for me. Now for Hansemi, not much going on here. If you're using a Veer set, just remember that you need to have MP consumption reduction. So just add this Teeth of the Watcher to help with that, and just add a bit of MP consumption reduction. I have 2.7k here, which was enough already, I guess. With the Teeth of the Watcher, this helps a lot. And also take note that Angel in White will be transferred to Team A as well, so make sure that your Water Chat has the highest total power. Now for Ana Ruiz, you don't have to build her properly because you don't want high attack anyway, and just added some MP consumption reduction because she's gonna lose MP2 if she's using the Veer set. Now for Saw, this is the stats: 85k HP, crit rate almost 10k, crit damage 191%, defense penetration damage increase balance, and then water damage. And then here are the cores that I'm using. I added MP consumption reduction here because Hansemi's MP regen was not enough. I have 4.4k now, and if I remove it, she's gonna be below 40% MP the last few seconds. Probably around 3k to 3.5k will work. So that's it pretty much for the builds. And now let's go ahead and check the gameplay. This is very interesting, guys. And I think this makes it easier for everyone. So the strategy now is to just keep on using your skills. You don't have to wait your shadow step because of what I have explained earlier. Okay, so this is where I got a consistent high score. So this is still my skill rotation, same as the previous one. Cold Ice, Grim, Dash, Cancel, and then Vacuum Wave, Shadow Step, Moon Shadow, and after that I have to use both QTEs with break skills to add more grid stacks. There you go. 2 more grid stacks, and then get the Shadow Step again, rinse and repeat. So somewhere around here, hae-in will cast her first ultimate. So ideally you want to get this Shadow Step so that it will be in sync with hae-in's ultimate, but I actually did make a mistake there, and look, that's what gonna happen. Moon Shadow. So usually I use an ult here to reset the pattern, make the boss walk, things like those. But in this case, I'm not sure if it's because of the defense mechanics or maybe it's because hae-in needs to keep the enemies in place. But I actually did miss another Shadow Step. So the boss does not have the Shadow Step defense decrease. But Even so, I went on because I saw that my score is still pretty much the same. It's actually very, very weird. So I'm pretty much just spamming my skills. I don't care if there is a shadow step coming in. I don't wait. I just use the skills as they go off cooldown. There you go. And I'm not using the ultimate anymore to reset the patterns, by the way. So just try to get all of the shadow steps that you can, and then the moon shadows that you can. I think the defense decrease is really not affecting the boss anymore because of the high rage, but I have yet to confirm that. But it's still crucial though, because you will still have that increased damage taken debuff from the moon shadow plus the 15% time stop damage. Then 1 minute 30 seconds, almost 6 billion. Now at 6 billion, 0.2 billion at 1 minute 30, even though I missed a lot of shadow steps and my rotation looks stupid actually. So I'm not waiting anything. Literally, this is the best gameplay rotation that I found that works best. No joke, guys. So there you go. And then somewhere around here, once you break it, there will be a time wherein you're gonna be able to synchronize the Moon Shadow plus hae-in's ultimate. So I casted that. Shadow Step. Actually mistimed that as well. Let's see. Yeah, I probably mistimed that. So I lost a bit of damage there. So my rotation changed here. It got messed up, but that's okay. Just keep on using the skills as they go off cooldown, like I said. There you go. Shadow Step again. Debuff, whatever you can press. Just keep on using the Moon Shadow. Don't use the ult anymore. Don't use anything. Don't make it walk. Just let it stay in place. As you can see, it doesn't have Shadow Step here anymore. But anyway, I'm still gonna use the Moon Shadow. Keep on hitting the boss. This is actually weird. It's crazy. This is crazy. 11 seconds left. I'm still doing pretty much the same thing. Alright, 3 seconds left. And then another big burst from Chop coming in. And then look at this. 0.55 seconds, 0.39 HP left. Look at this, guys. 0.25%. And then ultimate. Look at this. This is actually a buzzer beater. Almost didn't get it. So 0.25, look at the damage. 0.23, 20, boom, 99.6, 99.36% HP of the next range. Yeah, 17.3 billion damage, 67 rage count. hae-in with 12.2 billion damage, and Sorin 2.6, so about 1.750. And basically, that's it. I'm gonna test Lee Joo-hee next time. Let me actually just show you something here in our Discord channel. So I actually shared this here. Look at this. I'm using Joo-hee. Still getting pretty much the same score, don't have the Hansemi. Basically, what Lee Joo-hee offers to the team is actually not just that potential bug, because if you compare it to Hansemi, she has that debuff from her weapon as well, right? That 5% increased damage taken, and then the proc for the Guardian set. But for Lee Joo-hee, she also gives MP to Saw, so that will also help Saw with her MP problem, so we can remove the MP consumption reduction, add more stats, and she also increases the team's HP by 8%. The problem with her though is that the team A will struggle with MP, especially Sorin. Cha is manageable if you're using Infamy set, but Sorin is gonna be problematic. That's why you saw her damage is very, very low in that part. But once I fix that, I do feel like it's gonna be at least on par, probably even better than the Hansemi lineup. But I'm not sure about that yet. I'm gonna test more, and if you want to stay up to date, make sure to subscribe in my channel. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment. That's gonna be it. Thank you so much again for watching. See you on the next one.